Greetings, Olive friends and family. It's wonderful to be able to check in with you again for this midweek connection. This morning I was reading out of Philemon, which is just a small book of the Bible, one chapter, and it's a letter from Paul, who was in prison, to his friend Philemon, who had a slave run away. And the slave's name is Onesimus. Um, and Onesimus finds Paul in prison, and they have a conversation. And Paul writes a letter back to Philemon, encouraging him to where he owned Onesimus, and and by law, by his rights, he could punish Onesimus for running away. But while with Paul, Onesimus finds Christ. And so Paul writes a letter to Philemon to encourage him to accept Onesimus back, not as owner and slave, but as brother in Christ. And so I don't know who this is for, or who needs to hear this morning, but there's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of misunderstandings. There's a lot of tension between different people right now in our society. And so this is just a wonderful letter that Paul writes on how we can work through those tensions, and how when we come together, not as owner and slave, or not as one thing and another thing, but as brothers and sisters in Christ. When we come together as brothers and sisters in Christ and see each other as that, our response to one another, the way we engage with each other, um, comes together in a completely different light. And so just want to encourage you, if you've not read the book Philemon, or haven't read a whole book of the Bible, Philemon is a great one to start with. It's one little chapter, and you can say, I read a book of the Bible. And you did it in one day, so that's fun. So I encourage you to go read that book. Go read Philemon. It's in the New Testament of our Bible. And as Paul gives us some good instruction on how to work through conflict with one another, how to have peace with one another, even in the midst of maybe not agreeing or being wronged. Onesimus straight up wronged Philemon by running away. But Philemon brings him back. One of the interesting things and cool things is that Paul writes this letter and sends it by messenger to Philemon. And do you know who the messenger was? The messenger was Onesimus himself. And so not only did he work with Philemon, but he worked with Onesimus to go back and make things right. So maybe you're on the side of something where you wronged somebody. There's a responsibility there as brothers and sisters in Christ to go back to the person that we wronged and to care for them and to make things right. I hope you all are well. I hope you have a wonderful week and can finish this week strong. Continue to lift one another up in prayer. Continue to lift our country, our leaders in prayer. Continue to lift our our community, our country, the world in prayer as we continue to deal with COVID stuff and continue to recover. And we're thankful that things are trending in a better direction, but we're not there yet. So we've got a ways to go. So continue to care for one another as brothers and sisters in Christ, and lift one another up. Be well and love well this week.